What is up, everybody? Ray and Brennen back again with Franchise Tag Fantasy Football to bring you, what is this? Like a team review, our team reviews, our big money reviews of our teams to let you guys know how we did in our drafts, our thought process, and maybe that'll kind of help you in looking at your teams and like how you did. As always, if you guys have any questions, you guys want us to comment on some stuff that you guys did in your drafts, because I know draft weekend's already over, right? By the time you guys are watching this. Unless you guys are like drafted on Wednesday night, that'd be wild.
I have one more draft on Monday night, so
that's pretty late.
Yeah,
I mean, like I get it.
Yeah,
but like if you guys have any questions about your guys' draft, put them in the comments. You know, we'll hit you up. I'm always in there, you know, chatting it up. I do send it to everybody else, as you guys know. Everybody sees that. Brennen,
yes, sir.
Hit us with some of that sweet news right quick.
Yeah, so let's start it off with the big news. Cooper Kupp flew to Minnesota to see a specialist in regards to his pulled hamstring. It's his second time now. Coach Sean McVay still says it's day-to-day. You know, flying cross country to see a specialist is very normal day-to-day behavior.
You know what? Just to take a look at your creamy little hamstrings. I don't know, man.
Yeah, this is worrisome. I don't think he's gonna play week 1. I don't know if he'll play week 2. Week 3 is probably where I think we see him back in the field. And I know he was going picks like 104, 105. He's going to fall to like the second round.
Remember like when I just said, you know, maybe hours ago or maybe seconds ago, who knows? There's a whole different person that said this, that you're a crazy person for waiting until Monday to Wednesday to draft. Wait, that's so brutal. Imagine taking Cooper Kupp in the first round and then hearing that he's flying to Minnesota instead of putting some Bengay on his hamstrings. That's tough.
Yeah. I mean, granted, he's an expensive receiver, so I mean, like, you know, you want to make sure he's fully healthy, but flying to a specialist is still a little worrisome at the end of the day. Yeah. I would probably not draft him. I think he's still anybody going into the season with you know, soft tissue injuries or my no list. I've been pretty adamant on that. Great player, great talent. You're gonna, you know, when he does play, he's amazing, but it's when he's gonna play is the problem.
If you're the Cooper Kupp owner, just so that we get this out the way, I would have to have a backup option, and
Van Jefferson.
And I mean, honestly, hope that he doesn't play for 2 weeks. Hope he doesn't.
Yeah,
hope.
I mean, it just means Van Jefferson's going to be the wide receiver 1 for them, and so he's going to get a bunch of targets. Don't know about the receptions, but you know, target's king, so that's where we're at. So
could be a pivot option.
Yeah. Second bit of news: Deion Jackson has been named Week 1 starter. So for those who did draft JT these past couple weeks, I'd go pick him up right now. I think Zach Moss might be back by week 2, maybe week 3, but Deion Jackson's going to get the bulk. He's going to be the cowbell for us. Granted, if you don't have another running back, that's who you can pivot to.
Zach Moss sucks. Like just flat out, it's like he sucks. Don't bank on Zach Moss.
It's a weird backfield. I think at the end of the day, if you own Anthony Richardson, you're happy. I've drafted Deion Jackson. You'll see in mine, I drafted him at the last pick in every single one of them because I knew the whole Jonathan Taylor situation. So I now had an RB1 the last pick of my draft, so it's kind of nice.
That's tough. It's tough.
Yeah,
for everybody else.
It did piss off some people for sure when I kept saying, dang, it's crazy I drafted the RB1 in the last round, and they're all like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like you do this.
I know my own team. I'm miserable with this team.
You do this.
Next bit of news, it's kind of a weird one, but it was reported that CMC might not get as many touches to avoid overloading him, which if you can look at the numbers, the splits with him when Elijah Mitchell was healthy, he didn't put up these immaculate like 20-point games. Granted, he's still, you know, amazing, he gets receptions, everything else like that, but they're going to limit him, which is a smart thing to do because he had a full healthy season last year, which is his first one in a while. But
yeah, and I think that Debo kind of eats into some of his work as well. You know, like I just really feel as though that's going to happen. And again, we're obviously predicting things that we haven't seen week 1 yet. So they do have a tough week 1 against Pittsburgh. That's something.
Yeah. So granted, you took CMC where you took him, you're happy with him. You know, you still got the best running back in the draft. So regardless, you're happy, but just know that you might not see him be on the field at all times.
Well, he's second best. Tank Bigsby's the best. That's just me.
Okay. Next bit of news: Jeff Wilson was placed in the IR, so the Miami backfield's still no Kareem Hunt signing, no nothing. So I think Mostert's a starter. I think it's Raheem Mostert. I think it's him, and then Devon Achane gets worked in a little bit. But as it sits right now, week 1, it's Raheem Mostert. So if he's still somewhere on the waiver wires, I go pick him up right now.
That makes me think that Devon Achane's going to be something. It really does. Like, I have an itch on my spine.
I took him in the 3rd round. I mean, like, it's high draft capital. So, like, I think he's going to be better for PPR leagues, full point PPR than half point.
Like, he's probably going to have like 5 or 6 package plays designed for him.
No, I think that's going to be that. Yeah. Next bit of news. It's reported by Mike Florio, so take that with a grain of salt, but it does make sense in some aspects. Cardinals might keep Kyler Murray on the PUP list throughout the 2023 season to avoid him getting hurt. Well, the math is if he does get hurt, they owe him $37 million in 2024, $29 million in 2025, and $26 million in 2026 if he can't pass a physical before March 2024. So with that, they named Clayton Tune the starter, their 5th round draft pick this week. So they play the Commanders, so please start Commanders defense week 1. It's a must. It's going to be the number 1 start for defense. If you took Hollywood Brown, you took James Conner, it's great. I don't know what you're going to get out of them this season. They're both on my avoid draft list this year.
Yeah, I think James Conner is going to be a rough go for this whole season. And I know that he was probably the most viable option out of all of them, but I don't know, man. I don't want any part of Arizona. I don't want to pivot to any part of Arizona. Just no thanks.
Yeah, it's gross. And, they're starting a rookie quarterback who was a project player to begin with, was okay. The Cardinals are tanking for Caleb Williams, and for good reason. He's looked good these first 2 starts in his collegiate season. I mean, 3 for 4 touchdowns yesterday against Nevada, and then I forgot who they played the first week. But again, he looks immaculate.
Imagine if they end up like flipping the table on us and going after Deion Sanders' son. Imagine.
Oh, yeah, no, he looked amazing too. He only had like 4 incompletions through 500 yards on TCU. Yeah, no, he looks. When we get to the dynasty, it'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But last 2 things here. Mike Evans says he wants a new contract by week 1. He doesn't want to be a distraction, so he won't hold out. But I could see him being kind of a trade target if they don't work this out by Sunday. Or I think the deadline is for them by Wednesday. So Mike Evans might be a trade target for teams if they want to go for the playoffs.
Where would you want him to go?
I don't know. It's a tough thing because, like, if you're like going somewhere to be viable, like, I don't know, a team would have to buy in and go all in with that, and so he's gonna mess up some receiving core. I really don't know. Like, it's if I had to pick somewhere, like if a team's like really in the hunt, I can see the Patriots.
I could also see Chicago.
I like DJ Moore would be interesting, yeah. But I think the Patriots make sense.
Yeah, the Patriots definitely do because they don't have a 1. But like,
yeah.
If Chicago really wanted to buy in and make sure that, like, Justin Fields had all the weapons that he could, Mike Evans makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, be a nice little protector right there, a little safety blanket. Yeah, last bit of news here. TJ Hawkinson's pain went away magically when he became the highest paid tight end in the NFL. Crazy how that works.
We're going to talk about TJ Hawkinson in just a minute.
But yeah, that's it. You have 7. He got like 17.5 annually is what he got. So. Happy man in Minnesota,
and probably the receiver too in that offense. That'd be wild if somebody called that.
Madison.
It's probably TJ Hawkinson because they paid this man, but who knows, right? Brennen.
Yes, sir.
Look, I just can't wait to capitalize. I love free beer. I love it. You guys want to send some to me? Let me know in the comments. I'll give you guys my address.
That's you and Aaron, not me.
Yeah, I like that bet because I'm gonna win it. Brennen.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into our team reviews. Now, just for context, guys, this is what we saw as our biggest leagues that we play in, our big money leagues, the ones that mean the most to us. We're just going to talk about 1 league each and 1 team each, and I'm going to give you guys like our insight as to what our strengths and weaknesses are, where we could have probably improved in the draft for next year so we can have some retrospective thinking, and maybe leave some time at the end to give a little shit talk to one another, Let's see what happens, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to start this off by showing you guys my team, and I would like you guys to take a look at it, and I'll explain what this league is and all what it all entails, right? So right now we're looking at my main league, fantasy football for dummies. It's been around for, I don't know, like 5 years or something like that. Who knows? But it branched off of another league, but that doesn't matter. So team name is Houston Massage Parlor. If you guys got any better names, drop them in the comments. I'd love to see them because I'm going to change my name. I got a nice little cute picture of Adam Thielen looking like a creeper. But this is a 10-team keeper half-point PPR, and our keepers are based off of previous draft position or previous ADP plus 1 round. So last season, I had the opportunity to have Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave as my keepers. So you see them right here, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave as my receivers. This team starts off with Justin Fields as my quarterback, Aaron Jones and Javonte Williams as my running back 1 and 2, Garrett Wilson and Devontae as my receiver 1, my receiver 2, which I think is a pretty good stack. TJ Hawkinson there at tight end. Again, it's like I knew they were going to pay this man and his spine was going to feel great afterwards. Chris Olave as my flex, Younghoe Blood Koo as my kicker. Gross. And the Pittsburgh defense against San Francisco to start the season. Now, I did that because I wasn't sure if Brock Purdy was going to be 100%, and I like Pittsburgh defense, so that's how I kind of viewed it. My running back depth is looking like DeAndre Swift, Tank Bigsby being the elite of the elite. My receiver depth is Christian Kirk, Elijah Moore, and George Pickens. The theme with my team is going receiver heavy and hoping that I can find a running back a little later in waivers. And I don't know if I'm really hoping that Javonte Williams gives me what I need him to give me. But this is all a gamble on Javonte Williams and Justin Fields on this team is what I view it. So let's talk about the draft board themselves. Let me pull that up right quick. Sorry that this isn't seamless, guys. If you guys paid us more, we'd be able to do this seamlessly. The draft board is going to look a little weird. Brennan's is going to look a lot more clean than mine because mine is a keeper league. But you can see in the first round, I went Devontae Adams. Then second round, Aaron Jones. Third round, Justin Fields. Fourth round, Javonte Williams, which I feel like my third and fourth were reaches. But because this is a keeper league and because I needed the most depth that I could get and the best positional value that I could get, that's why I went after them, because I felt as though they made a difference to my roster. TJ Hawkinson in the 5th, DeAndre Swift in the 6th, George Pickens in the 7th, Christian Kirk in the 8th, because I knew I could get him to come back around to me. I had a trade here for my 9th and 10th, Tank Bigsby in the 10th, again, because I knew he was not going to come back to me in the 12th, because my keepers, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, were in the 10th and 11th. So the 12th was Elijah Moore, and then defense and kicker, because they don't matter. We should get rid of them in this league. Brennan,
yes, sir.
What do you think?
I mean, so you're saying you reach for Fields, and I don't really see that because it looks like you can go by Lamar Jackson's there. You told me that the guy who owns Josh Allen has him the 14th round.
Yeah.
So Justin Fields is that 5th quarterback, and you got to look at the teams that are going, when you go, it looks like it's going to the right. So, there's 2 teams in front of you that needed a quarterback. So I think you did the right choice there. I think Justin Fields has the potential to be he could be the number 1 quarterback. I mean, the upside's crazy with him. The Javonte Williams pick is a little interesting because I don't know what other options you had there, but the guy took Dalvin Cook before Javonte Williams. So that's kind of weird when you see that. So, I mean, I don't mind it. It's crazy that TJ Hawkinson fell that far because TJ goes, and you'll see in my drafts, he's gone specifically higher than Javonte. So, I mean, I do see the reach, but you can flip-flop TJ and Javonte, I guess, in your mind, and it's still the same thing. I'm not a big Swift believer. The Philadelphia offense is weird. That backfield's going to be gross. You're going to be upset no matter who you start one week, or I think Kenneth Gainwell's the only one that has a solidified role in that. But they traded for him. He could be the RB1 and the crazy upside, and I see that. I do it's crazy seeing Pickens before Kirk, because most drafts I've been in, Kirk has gone before Pickens. But I like it. You have a really nice, safe wide receivers, and so you could package Pickens, because if Pickens has a good year, you could package him and move him up for a running back and go for gold for this league.
really what I was hoping, and again, this is like my mindset going into this keeper league, is that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get Pickens later. I knew there was going to be a receiver one, and sure as shit, there was. Look at the next round and look at how many receivers went. Deontay Johnson, Jordan Addison, Jerry Jeudy, Tyler Lockett, JSN, and Christian Kirk with where I went. Then Mike Evans, Marquise Brown, which was a mistake, and Michael Pittman, which was also a mistake. But you can see that there was going to be a receiver one. I kind of had that feeling, and I read the room right. And this is exactly what happened. Is I'm glad that I picked him because I would not have got him.
It is weird because like it is a keeper league, but you do have your two keepers forever. Like you're not gonna mess with Olave and Wilson. Like it's very weird. The only one that I would mess with them would be JSN. So I guess I would have pondered the thought of like, well, man, I can have three potential keepers at JSN, Olave, and Wilson, because if JSN's this legit guy, Christian Kirk obviously is great, but JSN we don't know. So I guess the gamble with keepers is different. I don't play in keeper leagues, but like I do see the aspect of certain things with that.
Yeah, and keeper definitely makes you. It's kind of like a mini dynasty, kind of.
Yes, I agree because like
statement. You can look at, let's say, a great friend of the show, Kevin's team here. He has Justin Jefferson and Josh Allen, which will be his keepers for pretty much the entirety of my lifespan.
So crazy.
So yeah, he's got Justin Jefferson in the 11th. He got kept when he was a rookie. So that's the value. The same thing with Garrett Wilson. Again, kept when he was a rookie, but it shows that like you have to be thinking years in advance as well as what you're doing right now. I think it adds like a little pivot layer. I think a half point PPR and a keeper league is like the same thing as like a full point PPR dynasty. It's all kind of interchangeable there. But I took Pickens because I think I could package him in something else for a better draft pick next season and really capitalize on this front end of the draft, because I don't think Bijan Robinson is going to be kept. Christian McCaffrey will probably be free. Travis Kelce will be one more year that he'll be open and available, So it opens up the idea and your avenues of moving forward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's my team in a nutshell. Anything that you'd like to add that how you're seeing my team, and do you think that there's strengths or weaknesses?
No, your strengths are wide receivers for sure. It's not even close. Your running back is going to be your weakness, obviously, depending on Aaron Jones and Javonte, who's coming off the ACL. That's going to be a little dicey. It's going to take a little bit of time, but your wide receivers will carry you, and Justin Fields will help along the way too. And TJ's nice. So again, you have a nice safe team with the wide receivers there. Your running backs, you're going to be playing the waiver wire. Hope Tank carves out a bigger role than he is.
I made a bet today. Brennan. That Tank Bigsby was going to have that 60-40 split with Travis Etienne, and I bet I'm right. I bet I am, damn it. I know it because he's a better running back than Travis Etienne, damn it. He is. He just didn't play on a national championship team.
Yeah, I think he'll get the goal line work for sure, since Etienne went 3 for 13 on goal line carries last year. So I think Tank's going to have that backfield to himself when it comes to goal line. All right, let me ask you, do you want to do my team where I picked from 1 or picked from 12?
It's up to you, man. Whatever the biggest league is, whatever has the biggest chutzpah behind it, the one that matters the most.
I'll do my pick 12 one. That's fine. We'll do that. Let's do this thing here.
Sorry, guys. This is like the first time we've thought about this idea. So like, if this is a bad idea, let us know in the comments. We'll stop doing these. Like, I just thought this was kind of cool.
All right. So as you guys can see here, this is a 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 quarterback. Quarterbacks are only 4 points per touchdown here for throwing touchdowns, so a little different there. No kickers, defense, half point PPR. You can see for my team here, I'm the very end. It was Mahomes dancing on a hill. It's my teammate from last year, but I went Tony Pollard in the first round, and then I reached for Garrett Wilson in the second. When you have to pick 12, you really got to call your shot here, because as you can see, I could have gone CD, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, Devontae, all these guys I think were interchangeable, but I think Garrett Wilson's ceiling is ridiculous. So I play to win. So
yeah, the only one that I was really considering right there when you're looking at it is Amon-Ra. That's it.
I considered AJ Brown heavily too. I considered AJ Brown pretty heavily. It was between him and AJ Brown were like my 2 guys. I was like, man, this is really tough look here. And my buddy Talon, who took Saquon and AJ Brown. I was hoping for that kind of a start, but I do think Tony Pollard is right there with everybody else in this running back list. And then after that, I went Calvin Ridley, who I think is going to be a potential top 10 receiver. He was a top 5 in 2020. I know it's a little time off, but I think the world of him. I think everybody in the show does. I think everybody in the fantasy spectrum does. I was really hoping for Mark Andrews, to be completely honest. I was hoping to do him and Lamar Jackson stack. Talon here is offering me his 6th round and his 8th round pick for this pick, and I still said no. I think that Lamar was that last tier break, and I was just so hesitant, and I was just like, can't do it. I took Lamar. So my philosophy here is always taking a top 5 quarterback or top 6, and I got one of them. Following that, I took Cam Akers and James Cook. I could have taken Alvin Kamara instead of James Cook, but I wanted to go Javonte and Cam Akers. But I think James Cook, at the time of this draft, was about 2 weeks ago, he was told that he's going to be the guy. So I was like, all right, like I'm gonna buy into the hype. I'll buy it out. So, and then falling to the 7th round was George Kittle, which was absolutely crazy to me. I literally looked around and I was still in disbelief he was available. I know he might be injured, but George Kittle in the 7th is an absolute steal. And after that, I took George Pickens in the 8th round, Sky Moore in the 9th, Odell in the 10th. I took Tyler Algier in the 11th, still a 1,000-yard rusher. I get Bijan's going to be the guy. I still think he's still a nice backup. They're going to run the ball heavily. I took Adam Thielen in the 12th, Deontay Foreman in the 13th, who I'm probably going to cut here because of the news. And then in the 14th, I took Isaiah Hodgins as the wide receiver 1. It says New England Patriots here, but I did take Deion Jackson and not the Patriots defense. So how do you think my team carved out here for you, Ray?
So the only questions that really jump to my mind, and when I'm looking at this, is this half point or full point?
This is half point.
Okay, so to me, to get Jahmyr Gibbs in the 4th round would have been just extreme value. And I know this was 2 weeks ago, and I think that the roles were still a little kind of murky, but I think I would have went Jahmyr Gibbs in the 4th and then hoped to get, because Justin Fields and Justin Herbert were still available, and Trevor Lawrence. I would have rather have had those 3 than that in that setup. But I get where you're going with Lamar Jackson. Yeah. He's a proven commodity.
Yeah.
And he's pretty safe. I mean, last season was kind of a bust, but this is the best receiving core he has ever had by a country mile. It's not even remotely close.
Yeah.
So, and he's got a better offensive coordinator. So I get where you're going with it. I've been kind of off on Joe Burrow, and I'm glad that you didn't go that route, because I've been kind of off on him.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like the rushing upside. We play to win. And I think Lamar, he's one of the guys where he can throw 100 yards run for 100 and, throw for 250 and have a couple touchdowns in there. And I just want the upside. And I think Lamar has a bigger upside than Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Now, I will say that outside of Tony Pollard, you're hoping that James Cook is really your running back too, because I don't know what Cam Akers. I think Cam Akers and James Conner are going to have a very similar fantasy finish. And that's the one part that I'm like, I don't know, man. But I get where you're coming from in this one. It sucks that Javonte didn't fall to you. It sucks.
Yeah, he got sniped right before me. Yeah, I was so hurt. I was just sitting there anticipating. Pick 12 was just pick 1 and pick 12 sucks. You're just sitting there waiting the entire time, watching guys like, all right, well, that's one off the board. All right, you get like a set of guys, like 3 to 4 guys. You're like, all right, if I can just get one of them, okay, and then you work around it. But yeah, I kept getting sniped. I wanted like Stephon Diggs and Tony Pollard would have been a nice start, or even like Aaron Jones, Calvin Ridley. Like there's a bunch of things like Drake. I wanted Drake London here. Yeah, it was it's annoying, but it is what it is. This league is my main league, you can say, so to speak. One of my buddies, Garrett, he took Travis Kelce, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy. But his running back 2 will be A.J. Dillon to start the season. So we want to throw that out there for everybody of what this league is like. He's super heavy in wide receivers. So obviously Travis Kelce, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy looks fantastic. But then when you look at running backs, it's gross.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you guys can take away from this, and this is just going forward for next year's draft, and just really a mindset of fantasy football. One, you're not winning at the draft. Your team is going to look a lot different at the end of this season.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do the show like that too, like what our team started out, what our team ended up
Mhm.
like. Maybe that could be a thing. But also know your league, know how
Yeah.
people draft, because like you were saying, you knew what this guy was going to take, you knew what's going to be there, you have a good idea. And if you're in
Yeah.
these long-standing leagues, really pay attention to people's tendencies, because it will really help you out in these drafts. And I like I said, I was not going to get George Pickens, and I knew I wasn't, and that's who I wanted instead of the slew of other receivers that went. You knew that where these players were going to fall, and you got to make a move, right? Especially at the turn,
Yeah, knowing your league mates' habits is really big too. So like I knew the guys like behind me, they have the same philosophy as me. Like year 2 wide receivers have a tendency to have a bigger outbreak year. So I took George Pickens where I took him, and they were pretty upset because they thought he'd fall back. So like, and then like also like there's fandom into it. Like where Talon took Javonte, the guy behind him is a Broncos fan, so he knew he was not getting him back in the turn. So you got to look at that too. Like people don't want to say that you don't have fandom towards fantasy. It's not true. Like you've taken plenty of Packers a little earlier than you were supposed to.
Yeah.
So
in the past,
yeah.
Maybe now. Maybe I took Aaron Jones a little high. I don't know.
No, I don't mind it where you took Aaron Jones. It's okay.
I feel like that was a good move. Really, anything else about? I think that obviously your receivers are going to need to carry you in this one for a little bit, but other than that, I mean, I like the team. I like what you had to do at the turn, and I do think that you're going to be playing the waiver, just like me. You're going to be playing the waiver and seeing what you can do, and that's like a big part of this show. We're going to be talking about the waivers a lot, and like what you should be doing. Move to Fab. Don't use a waiver system.
We are, all my leagues are Fab. It's very. The only thing that worries me for this league is that my wide receiver 3 will be either George Pickens or Sky Moore or Odell Beckham Jr.
I think Odell's the safest right now.
I don't know what I'm going to do week 1, because obviously Sky Moore plays on Thursday, so that really sucks. And like I've read all the hype from him from his GM saying he's going to be on there, so it's really tough of what I'm going to be doing for my third starter. And then when he lays a goose egg, you just get so upset, you just feel deflated. So
I would go Odell in that situation. That's what I would do.
Yeah, stacking with Lamar. I don't know. I'm probably going to be panicking all the way up till game time for the Chiefs-Lions game. So
I don't know. Anything else about your draft? Anything else for the show in general?
No, I've got nothing.
Well, Brennan, I feel like this was an experiment, and I'm sorry that if it seemed a little janky, guys, but I felt like I could give you an insight of what we're thinking in our actual draft. So it's not just a mock draft kind of thing. We'll have mock draft text, but it isn't just a mock draft, like you can see what we were thinking when we went into these drafts. So you can kind of pick our brains a little bit, drop in the comments. We'll talk to you guys. If you guys think our teams suck, or, we could have done better, or like, what our takes are trash. I don't mind that. I like them, actually.
Fantasy Pro said that team was a B-, so makes me feel really good.
Fantasy Pros didn't give me a grade yet.
Oh,
maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. Anything else, Brennan? Anything else?
Nothing.
All right, guys. Until next time, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share, and we will see you later.